Now we're starting to actually exercise this thing between our ears and less of the thing between our legs. Gentlemen, let's talk about the role of women in your life for a brief little interlude, because many of the questions I get on a daily basis on YouTube, Twitter, and various other social media platforms, 90% of them will revolve around some trials and tribulations about women in your lives. And usually my answer is the same for about 90% of the questions. So let me give you a typical message that I will get. I will wake up and roll out of my bed on a Monday morning, and perhaps I'll look at my phone at some of the messages that people have sent me overseas, different time zones. And it will be about some woman that they're pursuing at college or university, and they are looking to woo this particular woman. So they ask me for advice. What should I do in this situation, Joseph? And I will reply with, don't bother, leave it, work on your fitness, work on your business, work on your bank, and then when you're 30 years old, when your sexual market value is peaking, then you can kind of get the pick of the bunch, and they're going to line up for you to pick the best choice, which I think is a very intelligent move if you're not currently in a relationship and you are, again, in your, let's say, late or even mid-teens or early 20s, mid-20s, and I would even say for some of you in your late 20s as well. Now that is one option, and that option is predicated on the idea that you can build your empire first, and then you can pick your queen or your partner to add and let's say give a little bit more value to that empire, who add some nice attractiveness to that empire, and that is completely okay. I will say though that your decision and the factors that will influence your decision to bring that woman into your life is purely going to be predicated on the same kind of things you valued in, say, business, fitness, and all the other kind of things that we've spoken about so far. And it will purely be based on attractiveness, a trophy wife. Now, whereas I don't have any particular problem about executing that particular option, it does leave another option out that I think other men should also consider, because I'm turning 27 in a couple of months, and I'm with a partner now who I'm very, very happy with, and I fully intend on being with this woman for the rest of my life. And contrary to my advice, that is not the traditional route that I have taken. So men will say to me, Joseph, what then influenced your decision to be with this particular woman, this mysterious woman in my life? So I will lay down some of the rational tools I've used to screen the woman I'm with now, and why I know for certainty, and again, you can call me deluded, you can call me skeptical, whatever the case may be, but I'm very sure and grounded in the reality that I will be with this woman for the foreseeable future. So the problem most men have when they're picking a woman to be in a relationship is, first of all, they don't even know if they want to be in a relationship with these women. And that all comes under the rubric of not using the most valuable tool masculine men in general have available to them. And that is their discernment. That is their ability to be rational, to be logical, and unimpeded, unencumbered by emotion. And this is why, gentlemen, I stress so heavily on this channel, and you're probably sick of me talking about it by now, is mastery over your sexual energy, mastery over your sexual identity, your sexual proclivity to procreate. Because if you can tame that, if you can discipline it, and if you can have it in order under the rubric of yourself, then you can make decisions not based on that. And those are very, very intelligent decisions. Those are decisions made in mind with a structure, with a carefully thought out and a grand vision at the end of this. It's like most chess masters, most grandmasters in the sport of chess are always 10 steps ahead of you. And even before you've made a cold approach, if you're a pickup artist or you have a friend that you're talking to that again you would like to court, they already have a vision for what role she's going to play in his life. That might be someone who is more of a provider, more of a traditional role, of more of a housewife. And again, if you are very grounded in that reality, you need to have a plan sought out that will make you the antithesis of the housewife, which is going to be the sole breadwinner. So having something like a six-figure business has got to be an imperative of yours, and you need to have those things in play before you can add those pieces of the puzzle. See here, now we're starting to discern our rational mind. Now we're starting to actually exercise this thing between our ears and less of the thing between our legs. Now, another thing that I would encourage men to look at, very, very with fine detail at, is the value that this woman has, particularly in her mother and father. And this is a tweet that I put out quite regularly. It's you need to interview her mother and father. You need to screen her parents, because her parents are going to tell you a lot about her behavior, not just short term but long term as well, because she's been vicariously absorbing that behavior that she's witnessed for many years of her life, and she's going to base a lot of her relationships on the first relationship that she has ever experienced. And it sounds so simple when you talk about it like that, and I say, if you want to really understand a woman's fundamental values and how she's going to behave, look at the two most important reference points she has for articulating herself through life: her mother and her father. Or it's not her mother and her father, the two most prominent genders, male and female, in her life. A lot of those characteristics are going to naturally bleed over through nurture. I do say that conducting conversations, and especially dates, with an air of an interview is going to be advantageous for you getting this information out early, because then there may be some things that you decide are not going to be conducive to your grand vision later on. I think it's important for men to also have a list of non-negotiables, and this is going to depend on how picky you personally are, but I think it's healthy to have a certain amount of leeway in the relationship, because nobody is going to be the perfect role for you, the perfect partner for you on person. There's going to be a little bit of give and take on both parts, but you should have set in stone a list of non-negotiables that you're not willing to compromise on. And those list of non-negotiables I would order in terms of importance in regards to their longevity to the relationship. So you have to discuss major things like if she wants a family. If she tells you on the first date that she doesn't want a family and you want a family on the first date, that is an immediate red flag, and you should discontinue the relationship. Don't think by your own neurotic psychosis that you're going to be able to convince her otherwise. It's selfish on both parts to do so. And you should have established yourself at this point as a high value man who knows exactly what he wants out of that relationship. Again, you will be amazed how many of your friends do not know what they want from a woman in a relationship. And that is half the problem, is that your imperative is led by sensory satisfaction and not a crucial role in the empire that you are building. And when you start thinking of relationship, not just in terms of a reciprocal partnership with compassion and all the things that kind of tie the thing together, but also as a let's say how you're conducting a business and the elements that you need to have in place in order for it to work as a well-oiled machine, you will have far more success. Because if I'm running a business and I'm going to employ someone that I know is going to be unreliable 6 months into into me giving him employment or her employment, it doesn't make sense. Again, if you start taking the sensory feedback out of it and start, let's say, concentrating more on the integral cogs that, again, are going to be conducive to that machine working without it breaking down on you, then you're going to have ultimately more success in the long run. I will end on one final thing, and that's environment, because environment shapes you into the type of person that you are going to ultimately become. Not only look at her parents, look at her friends. Most individuals are going to be the sum of their 5 closest friends. You might have heard that term in passing, quite frequently, and it is true. So do look at the type of friends that she's hanging around with, especially like her best friend. If they're the type of women that are going out clubbing every weekend, getting pissed and just inebriated but beyond comprehension, then that is going to again rub off on your potential partner. And the question then becomes, are you willing to take on the burden of those subsequent behaviors into your life structure? And if the answer is no, then the answer is no. And again, it takes a lot of energy to begin to, it can be done to shape people into, let's say, what would you say is more ethically appropriate in this context? Let's say shape you into someone that is more your match, let's say. It can be done, but it requires a lot of energy. And again, if you're a man on your mission, if you're orientated in your business, in your fitness, in your spiritual practices, then this is something that will drain you, and those subsequent pillars will start to crumble and begin to fracture. So it's really not worth it. As soon as someone compromises one of your non-negotiables, you put a pin in it and you move on. That is as simple as that. So gentlemen, this was a little bit of a different talk, but I think it's very, very important considering the demographic of a lot of people who are watching this channel. The first thing I did say about working on your fitness, working on your business, working on your spiritual suits, I would say that's integral. Do not compromise on those whatsoever, because again, in the long run, you're going to have more choice. And the state of the world at the moment, you want to be in the top percentage of the men kind of being able to make those high quality moves, high quality decisions. So again, do not compromise on the essentials for any woman, and you can take that to the bank and cash it in along with all your other checks. So gentlemen, if you enjoyed what I have said this evening, then you can subscribe to me, and I'll talk to you again very soon. Take care.